What's up guys, Riley here from RP Productions, and today is my 1.5 year anniversary of my ownership with my 2014 Dodge Charger RT. So this is going to be a video talking about how the car has held up over this past 1.5 years of ownership and just overall how everything is going. So let's get started. Alright guys, so coming up to the front, the first thing that I've done aftermarket, bought an eBay special RT badge. This actually was directly shipped to me from a factory somewhere up in like Minnesota, I think. But as you can see, it's got a couple little dents and stuff from rock chips, but it's not that big of a deal. Those hold up pretty decently, I suppose. Coming over here, I did a vinyl wrap of the orange little side marker, and this vinyl is actually on the outside of the lens, and I honestly kind of expected it to peel up, and I'm really surprised, but it has stayed flawless, and the other side looks the exact same. But I think that was a great little modification that I did to, you know, black that out, and that little orange eyesore is no longer there. So looks really good. Most of you know I also have LED lights, my fog lights and my daytime running lights slash high beams. And the daytime running lights slash high beams, they look really nice, but they do not offer any extra visibility over the stock ones because they're LEDs and they're more spread out light pattern, but they do look really good. And the fog lights are pretty much the same way. I'm gonna go ahead and apologize in advance for the wind. It's a very windy day, but this is my 1.5 year ownership day, so I wanted to make it today to get this out there. But like I said, the fog lights don't offer very much visibility either, but they do look very cool being clear. Coming over to the side of the car, one thing that I did that's very noticeable is I painted my brake calipers red using G2 brake caliper paint, and the paint has held up perfectly. You know, it looks just as good as looks as good as it did day one when I did it. And all calipers still look flawless, and it has held up great. These tires, I actually had to change my stock tires to these, which are Continental Extreme Contact DW performance tires. And I would say they probably have about 55 to 60% tread life left. My car right now, as it sits, it has 22,000 miles. I changed tires at about 12,000, I believe. So there's only been 10,000 miles put on these tires, and they're already showing signs of wear here and there. But if you go right here, the D and W, apparently when the W goes away, that's when they're not safe to drive in the wet, and then when the D goes away, it's not safe to drive in the dry. So as you can see, you know, they never were a very deep treaded tire to begin with, but you know, they're showing signs of wear already. I think I can probably manage to squeeze out 25 to probably 25,000 miles out of those. I wouldn't really, I doubt it can go any more than that. So another thing I did aftermarket badging over here on the side with the Hemi 5.7 liter badges. Those have held up perfectly. Other side looks the exact same. So, you know, looks a lot better than the chrome, in my opinion. And, you know, quick little mod that was pretty easy to do. Coming around to the back, let's see. The Charger and the RT, I Plastidip's red, actually. And I honestly expected this to be a short-term thing, but the Plastidip has held up great. And that's about 4 coats of Plastidip, and I think 2 to 3 coats of Glossifier. And as you can tell, you know, they both look fantastic. Let's see, another little mod that I have done is in the trunk. I've installed LED lights, which there's a video on the channel posted about how to do all that and showing off all the lights, but doing an LED light swap was great. That was a great idea on my part. I will never go back to owning a car that does not have LED lights, so I'll be doing LED light swaps probably for the rest of my life. One thing I didn't mention, Oracle side marker, looking real nice. Those were a great buy. Let's go ahead and unlock the car, so just show it off. Ta-da, looking real clean. Really like the way those look. Then coming around to the other side, not that big of a deal. So let's go ahead and pop the hood and see what I've done there. Alright, so right off the bat, you will notice I have an air raid cold air intake. I've cleaned it once, and it looks like it needs to be cleaned again. But you know, great throttle response modification. Horsepower wise, probably doesn't give you too much, but I believe it helps out a little bit here and there. Also, it sounds kind of cool when you hear it, you know, sucking air in and the whooshing noise it makes, but pretty cool nonetheless. Also have a billet technology oil catch can, so you can Google what those do. It's kind of a long explanation, but basically it's for the longevity of the engine. So looks nice in here, and you know, it's peace of mind. And then I also have a Billet Technology oil dipstick topper. Got the short throw dipstick in there. And then also plasti dipped this red, and used to be that bright yellow color. So I think it looks a lot better being red as opposed to yellow. It's less of an eyesore, and everything in here is pretty much all black and red. Alright, so before I go into the interior, one thing I will note, this car unfortunately was in a minor accident in my parking garage up at college. Basically I had a girl hit the side of my car. She hit the quarter panel and the rear door. But as you can tell, I got it fixed and it looks good as new. The paint was almost an identical match, so kudos to my repair shop, and it was all just cosmetic damage, so not that big of a deal, but it is something to note. But as you can tell, you know, you would never know if I didn't mention it. The only other imperfection that this car has is back here, right there. My car was hit with an egg one night when I was parked at a buddy's house, and some assholes thought it'd be a fun job or fun time to just throw an egg at my car for no reason. And now I was stuck with that, so as you can tell, I've kind of hit it up with a paint pen, but it used to be a lot worse. But other than that, that's really about the only flaws this car has. Everything else has been absolutely flawless. So let's go hop in the inside. So one thing that has been a huge help out is having keyless entry. So having that, I don't know, I guess I kind of spoiled myself, but I would not like to go back to a car that does not have keyless entry. So the steering wheel held up perfectly. Pretty much everything on the inside of this car is pretty much how it was day one. The cloth seats, they still look like they did day one. Really no signs of wear anywhere in the car. Even the floor mats, which you really can't see, but even they're in perfect condition. So, you know, honestly, a pretty solid car. Dodge made these things to where they can really hold up. And another thing I did was this little 75-cent mod on all my door panels, and as you can see, those have all held up perfectly, and I think that just makes it look a lot better, you know, with the black and red theme that I've gone for. That adds a nice little touch of red. Alright, so another thing that I did was I did an aftermarket exhaust, which you can find two pretty popular videos on this channel of the exhaust setup, but I'll go ahead and do an in-car startup with the windows and doors all closed. And so she roars to life. And so like I said earlier, I'm sitting right at about 22,000 miles, 22,173. So, you know, pretty low mileage for being a year and a half. I guess it's technically about average, but you know, everything with the car has been absolutely flawless. There's been some people talk about, you know, they have issues with theirs or whatever the case may be. Mine has been great. The only thing that it did a couple months ago, when I would turn the air conditioning on, instead of blowing cool air, it would blow hot air, and it was very just random. And so I would turn the AC off, press the off button on the AC, which it is right now, press off and then turn it back on, and it would fix itself. But it was just kind of weird how it would just blow hot air when the, you know, the temperature would be set on something cooler than what the outside temperature was. So one of those funny little things that, you know, I guess it just happens. Also, one thing that happened when I guess about halfway through the ownership, maybe 8 months in or so, it would go onto battery saver mode, which Dodge Chargers have been known to do that. It's something, there's some kind of short, I guess, in them. The V6s had a recall on their alternators, and they basically, the cars would go into battery saver mode, and there had been reports of people's cars just basically like dying and they wouldn't turn on, and they had to get their alternator replaced, and after that was done, then everything was fixed. But the V8s are all fine, but mine would still go into battery saver mode from time to time. I'm talking like very rarely. But it hasn't done it in a good solid probably 7 or 8 months, so it's been a long time since I saw that pop up. But just one thing to note to all my Charger owners is, you know, if you've seen that screen, I definitely have as well. But pretty much you turn your car off, turn it back on, and it goes away, and it's not really something I worry about. Like I mentioned earlier, the LED modification to the lights was such a great idea, and you know, I highly recommend everybody do that to their car. But you know, aside from that, guys, everything has held up really nicely. The power on this car has been plentiful, and it's just enough to, you know, have fun with. It's not like stupid powerful or anything, but it's definitely enough to go out and have fun with and, you know, compete yourself against most other cars out on the road. You know, the 5-speed transmission, automatic transmission, paddle shifters. Paddle shifters, I still really enjoy those. I think they're, you know, actually really responsive and pretty damn good for what they are. The 5-speed automatic, it's not the best, but it's not the worst. As I've stated before, it's nothing to really, you know, complain about, but it's also nothing to be like, oh, I have a 5-speed, it's great. So, you know, it's just one of those things that the car has, but by no means is it, it's not a deal breaker of any sort. I still thoroughly enjoy this car. As most of you know, I'm planning on selling this car in the next 4 to 5 months to upgrade to either a Scat Pack or a 2016 SS Camaro. Basically the reason being is I want to get something with a little bit more power. The YouTube channel's been going well, and I'm going to be financially able to do so, and I think it would just be a nice little change up. I wouldn't say I'm somebody who gets bored of things easily, but you know, I like to keep things interesting. I like to keep things new. And so I just think, you know, it might be time for something else and just get something that's a little bit more fun. So guys, you know, pretty boring video, honestly. Nothing really to report other than my 1.5 years with my 2014 Dodge Charger has been absolutely fantastic, and I love this car to death. Whoever gets this car after me is going to have a hell of a time. I've taken great care of this car, and you know, I hope you enjoy it if you're watching this video by chance. You know, take care of my baby, and you know, like I said, guys, everything has held up fantastic. I don't know, maybe I just got a good one from the factory, but I don't know. I think that Dodge has really done a good job, and these cars are really, you know, they're really something special, and especially to me, this car will always have a soft spot in my heart. So guys, thanks for watching this video, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Take it easy.